A cord can be completely cut and still come back. I know because I've cut them, cleared them from the subtle bodies, and later found the connection had formed again. That doesn't automatically mean the energetic work failed. Sometimes the clearing worked exactly as intended, but the person returned to their life and began recreating the same energetic conditions that formed the cord in the first place. So when I encounter a returning cord, I want to know more than whether it was successfully cut. I ask a harder question, a deeper question. Has the lesson been learned? Because I can remove a cord from your field. I cannot make you stop rebuilding it. I'm an energy healer and shamanic practitioner, and I work directly with the subtle bodies of energy. I perceive energetic cords and work with them as energetic structures, not as metaphors for psychological attachment. I work with attachments, depletion, entanglement, intrusion, and places where a person's own energy has become dispersed through relationship. Sometimes the work requires cutting and clearing. Sometimes it requires reclamation. What matters is understanding what is actually happening in the field rather than applying the same spiritual explanation to every connection. Not every cord is harmful. We form energetic connections through love, family, friendship, sexuality, caregiving, and any profound shared experience. Connection is part of being human. What concerns me is the quality of the exchange. Is there reciprocity? Or is one person continually pulling while the other supplies? Has love become mixed with fear, obligation, dependency, control, or survival? Does the connection allow you to remain fully yourself? Or does maintaining it require you to continually leave yourself? The subtle bodies can reveal a relationship the conscious mind insists is finished. Someone can tell me they're completely done with another person, while enormous amounts of their energy remain oriented towards them. They haven't spoken in months, but they're still imagining conversations. They're waiting for an apology. They want the truth exposed. They need the other person to regret what happened. They're wondering whether they're being missed. Physical contact has ended, but internally and energetically, the relationship still has a schedule. This is where cord cutting gets misunderstood. People focus entirely on removing the cord, but the cord formed inside a relationship. If I clear the energetic structure without becoming curious about what has been moving through it, we may remove what is present without actually understanding what keeps creating it. I can cut a cord. I cannot go home with someone and make their next decision. I cannot stop them from reopening contact that night, checking the person's page the next morning, asking mutual friends what they're doing, pulling cards about whether they're coming back, or spending hours rehearsing a conversation that will never happen. I cannot make somebody honor a boundary they continue bargaining away. I can clear what is present in the field. I cannot control what they begin feeding again afterward. I'm not saying every thought about another person creates a cord. The subtle bodies are far more complex than that. But sustained attention matters. Emotional intensity matters. Repeated energetic participation matters. You can block someone's phone number while giving them unrestricted access to your interior world. Your body may have left the relationship while your consciousness continues reporting for duty every morning. And love isn't the only thing that can keep us oriented toward another person. Resentment. Resentment can do it beautifully. So can the need for vindication. You may have absolutely no desire to reconcile, yet still need them to understand what they did, admit the truth, experience consequences, or regret losing you. The emotion is different, but part of your attention is still waiting for something from their life before yours can completely move forward. I don't think anger is the problem. Anger can restore information that was suppressed for years. It can show you exactly where something was violated. But eventually, I want the information inside the anger. Where was the boundary? When did you first notice something was wrong? What did you tolerate because you were afraid of what would happen if you stopped? What did maintaining this relationship require you to betray in yourself? This is what I mean when I ask whether the lesson has been learned. I am not saying someone abused you because the universe assigned you a spiritual lesson. I reject that idea. I don't believe people manifest abuse because they were not vibrating correctly. People have agency. People deceive, manipulate, and exploit vulnerability sometimes. It just is. Energetic boundaries can be violated just as emotional and physical boundaries can. Another person's harmful behavior belongs to them. The lesson is what becomes available to you once you can see the relationship clearly and finally understand what access without reciprocity costs you. Maybe you see how easily empathy can become self-abandonment when discernment is absent. Maybe you recognize that you override your intuition whenever attachment is threatened. Maybe you became so skilled at explaining another person's wounds that you used your compassion to continually excuse what their behavior was actually doing to you. Yeah, happens. Sometimes the most difficult realization is that you knew much earlier than you wanted to admit. Your body registered something. Your intuition registered something. Your energy changed around the person, but you wanted another outcome. So you negotiated against what you perceived. You needed more evidence and more evidence until reality became painful enough that you could no longer argue with yourself. I get it. I really do. At some point, healing asks whether you can honor what you know before you require another wound to prove it. That matters in energetic work because I can clear an attachment, but I cannot make someone trust themselves afterward. I can reclaim energy, but I cannot prevent someone from giving it straight back. I can help restore the field, I cannot make someone stop reopening a door because loneliness suddenly feels more frightening than what is happening on the other side of it. This is where energetic sovereignty becomes more important to me than endless energetic protection. Protection has its place. I use it. But if my entire spiritual life becomes an increasingly elaborate attempt to prevent everybody else's energy from touching mine, I'm still organizing my life around external power. Sovereignty is my ability to inhabit myself. I can recognize what belongs to me and what does not. I can notice when something is interacting with my field and should not be there. I can also notice when I am the one continually sending my own energy somewhere it no longer belongs. Both realities exist. Sometimes another person really is pulling on you energetically. Sometimes there is an attachment. Sometimes there is an intrusion. I work with the metaphysical. I'm not going to explain those experiences away because reducing everything to psychology makes them easier to other people to accept. But because I take energetic reality seriously, I also take discernment seriously. Not every sudden emotion belongs to someone else. Not every dream is a visitation. Not every thought about your former partner means they are psychically contacting you. Not every depleted feeling means someone is feeding on your energy. Sometimes you're depleted because you've spent hours tracking another person while barely inhabiting yourself. Sensitivity without discernment can become projection. The more perceptive we become, the more disciplined our interpretation has to become. Otherwise, every internal movement gets assigned to an external source. We gradually surrender authority over our own experience. Metaphysical maturity should make us more precise about what we perceive, not more frightened of it or triggered by it. When I encounter a cord, I'm therefore interested in more than where to cut it. What has been moving through it? Is there depletion? Is there something intrusive present? What belongs to this person and what doesn't? What needs to leave? What needs to return? Because sometimes the most important question isn't how much of the other person remains in your field. It's how much of you remains somewhere else. How much of your life force became organized around managing them? How much attention went into anticipating their moves? How much of your identity became tied to being chosen by them, saving them, surviving them, understanding them, or eventually proving them wrong? How much of your own life stopped receiving your full presence because so much of you was occupied with theirs? This is where reclamation becomes central to my shamanic work. Sometimes healing requires removal. Sometimes healing requires return. Maybe your voice needs to return. Maybe your creativity, sexuality, anger or trust in your own perception needs to return. Maybe your attention has spent so many years scanning another person that being fully present in your own life feels unfamiliar. There is a profound difference between spending all of your energy trying to get somebody else out of your field and becoming fully present within your own field. One still makes them the center of your healing. The other restores you to the center of your life. And this is why what happens after the energetic work matters. The session ends. You get up and return to ordinary life. Then ordinary life becomes the integration. What happens when they contact you? What happens when loneliness arrives? What happens when they offer exactly enough warmth to reactivate hope? What happens when curiosity tells you to check? What happens when something familiar becomes available again and your body recognizes the familiarity before your conscious mind remembers the cost? That is where understanding becomes embodied. Most of us can explain our patterns long before we stop participating in them. Has your relationship with access changed? Do you honor your own no? Do you act on what your intuition shows you before reality becomes unbearable enough to convince you? Can another person's life belong to them without you monitoring, managing, or rescuing it? When those things change, the energetic architecture changes too. Your choices support the clearing. Your boundaries support it. Your attention supports it. The subtle bodies are no longer being asked to maintain a reality that your daily life continually contradicts. The same person may reach towards you again, but they no longer encounter the same availability. That to me is energetic sovereignty. Not becoming untouchable. Love touches us. Intimacy changes us. Grief changes us. I want to remain capable of being deeply affected by another human without having to abandon myself in order to remain connected to them. So if you've had a cord cut and later felt that connection return, I would not immediately assume the work failed. I would ask, what came back with the cord? Is there another attachment that needs attention? Is something still present in the field? Is part of your own energy still invested there and waiting to be reclaimed? Or did the clearing work and now the next part belongs to you? This is the work I do. My sessions allow us to work with what is actually present rather than forcing an experience into either a psychological or metaphysical explanation. We can work directly with the subtle bodies, cords, and attachments. Healing work allows the energy to shift, but embodied integration is what follows. And it begins with a clear intention, because I always want the energetic work to best serve you and create participation from you after the session ends. If you're interested in working one-on-one, you can find the information below. And I want to hear from you in the comments. If you've experienced an energetic cord that returned after being cut What returned with it? Was it the same connection? Or did you eventually discover something else that needed to be cleared, reclaimed, or understood? Because sometimes the cord needs to be cut. And sometimes something of you needs to come home. And sometimes the cord stops returning when the relationship no longer has access to the version of you who kept rebuilding it. I am Kat Grace. I'm so grateful that you are here, and I wish you so much love and sovereignty. Until next time, namaste.